The Great Festival of 10 Virtues. Whenever discussion on festivals is held, their relation is often established with eating, drinking, and playing. For example, on the day of Raksha Bandhan, special dishes of kheer and laddus are served, tops are played, rakhi is tied. On the day of Holi, special dishes are prepared, colors are sprinkled, Holi is burned. On the day of Deepavali, crackers are bursted, lamps are lighted, laddus are offered, and sweets are exchanged. But the Jain festivals like Ashtanika and Dashalakshan, etc., have their relation with giving up of eating and playing, and not with taking food and playing games. These are the festivals of continence and not of enjoyment, hence are called great festivals. Their greatness lies in abstinence and not in amusement. If you ask a Jain as to how is the great festival of the 10 virtues celebrated, he will reply by saying that during these days people observe abstinence, worship the Almighty, observe vows, fasts, etc., and do not eat vegetables. They spend their maximum time only in reading the scriptures and holding discussions on it. Everywhere discourses on the scriptures by learned scholars are organized. In these gatherings, the differentias of 10 virtues, supreme forbearance, etc., are explained. All people accept some kind of renunciation according to their capacity, offer donations, and keep engrossed in various types of religious activities. Thus, a religious atmosphere is obtainable everywhere. The festivals are of two kinds, one eternal and two periodical. We may also call them as permanent and temporary. The temporary festivals are also of two kinds, one, those related with some particular persons, two, those related with some specific events. The festivals of Deepavali, Mahavir Jayanti, Ramanavami, Janmashtami, etc. are the festivals that are related to personages, because Deepavali and Mahavir Jayanti are respectively related to Mahavir's salvation and birth, and Ramanavami and Janmashtami are related to Ram's and Krishna's birth respectively. The festival of Raksha Bandhan, Akshaya Tritiya, Holi, etc. are classified as the festivals which are related to specific events, because these are concerned with famous mythological events. The Indian national festivals of modern times, the Independence Day and the Republic Day, may be called as the festivals that are related to historical events. The permanent festivals are neither related to any personage nor to any specific event. They are, in fact, related to spiritual thoughts. The great festival of 10 virtues, that is Dashalakshan Mahaparva, is such an eternal festival which is related to soul's natural traits of supreme forbearance, etc., which emerge in it as a consequence of the termination of impure modes like anger, etc. As a matter of fact, the festivals which are related to some events or to some personages cannot be found existing from beginningless time, because their existence is not possible before the emergence of the related events or personages. Those can also not exist up to endless time, because whenever in the future more important personages take birth or any important event takes place, people will start remembering the latter and celebrate festivals related to them and will forget the former ones. In future, the birthday and salvation day of the future Tirthankaras will be celebrated, and not of the present ones. As we have more or less forgotten the past 24 Tirthankaras, similarly the future generation will also not be able to remember the present ones. Howsoever important the events and the personages may be, those cannot be universal and eternal. All of these have limitations with respect to their own region and time. These cannot be everlasting. Therefore, only those festivals can be universal and eternal which are equally related to all living beings with their emotions and not related to any particular personage or event. Dashalakshan Mahaparva is one such great festival which is equally related with the emotions and sentiments of all living beings. Due to this reason, it is eternal, belongs to all, and will be existing forever. Its usefulness is universal and eternal. The great festival of 10 virtues does not belong to a particular sect. It is meant for all. Maybe it is celebrated by the people of a particular sect, yet it is certainly not a sectarian festival because it is not based on any sectarian thoughts. It has a universal base. Relinquishing the impure thoughts and accepting the generous thoughts forms its basis, which is equally beneficial to all. Obviously, therefore, this festival is not of Jains only, but is of all and everyone. Believing it to be a sectarian festival is in itself a sectarian outlook. Another reason why this festival is of all is that all living beings want to be happy and are afraid of miseries. The emotions like anger, etc., are the seeds of all miseries and are themselves irksome. The virtues like supreme forbearance, etc., are the seeds of happiness and are themselves blissful. Hence, for all people who are afraid of miseries and wish to be happy, the 10 virtues of supreme forbearance, etc., which emerge as a consequence of abstinence from anger, etc., are highly adorable. In this way, this great festival of 10 virtues, owing to its being auspicious and a guide to the right path of salvation, is the festival of all. The basis of the universality of such a great festival of 10 virtues, whose sole objective is the evolution of passionless 10 virtues of supreme forbearance, etc., that are devoid of anger and other emotions, lies in the fact that everywhere emotions like anger are treated as bad, harmful, and forbearance, etc., as good and beneficial. Which is that region where anger, etc., are not treated as bad and forbearance, etc., as good? Due to this very reason, it is eternal too, because there is no such time when anger, etc., are not treated, and will not be treated as worth giving up, and supreme forbearance, etc., as worth possessing. Obviously, its adoptability in all times is undoubtful. Distress and disturbance from anger, etc., and happiness and peace from forbearance, etc., were found to be resulting in the past, are resulting in the present, and will be found resulting in the future as well. Because of the universal, everlasting usefulness and delightfulness of the 10 virtues of supreme forbearance, etc., the dशलक Mahaparva is included in the category of eternal festivals, and that is why it is a great festival. Here, a doubt may arise that since this great festival is eternal, that is beginningless and endless, why is it mentioned in the scriptures that it has a beginning? In the scriptures, it is said that some natural ups and downs are observed during the cyclic change of time, which, according to Jain faith, are known as Avasarpani and Utsarpani. In Avasarpani, gradual deterioration, and in Utsarpani, gradual development takes place. Each Avasarpani and Utsarpani has got 6 divisions of time. At the end of each Avasarpani period, when the 5th era ends and the 6th era begins, people become destroyers by following Anarya Vritti, that is, wildly life. After that, when Utsarpani begins and the period of religious development ripens, various types of rains occur continuously for 7 weeks, starting from the first day of the month of Shravan, by means of which a good pleasing period emerges and again non-injurious civilized instinct crops up in the people. In this way, the dawn of religion takes place, that is, the religion restarts, and in that atmosphere up to 10 days, adoration of the 10 virtues of supreme forbearance, etc., is specially performed, and based on this, in each Utsarpani, this great festival gets started. The story tells us only how in each Utsarpani period the restarting of this festival takes place. By this story, the eternity of the great festival of 10 virtues does not get affected. This story itself is also an eternal story which has been repeated many times and will be repeated. Because at the end of the 5th era of Avasarpani, whenever people get separated from these virtues of supreme forbearance, etc., and in the beginning of Utsarpani period, whenever it will be repeated, in that era, the great festival of dशलक Mahaparva will get started in this way. In fact, this story is related to the beginning of the era and not to the beginning of this festival. In this way, from eternity through various eras, this festival is being celebrated and will continue to be celebrated in future also. Its eternity has already been proved in the scriptures and is logical too, because ever since this Jeev is there, it is possessing a virtuous nature of forgiveness, etc., though simultaneously is also holding ever since the emotional foulness, anger, etc. in its modification. On account of this, although possessing knowledge and blissful nature, it is ignorant and unhappy. Since it is unhappy from beginningless time, the necessity of happiness is also there ever since. As all Jeev are from the beginningless period, the necessity of virtues like supreme forbearance, etc., the root cause of happiness, is also from the beginningless period. Similarly, although infinite souls got liberated from the state of anger, etc., by taking shelter of the supreme forbearance and other virtues of the self, yet infinite times more souls than the liberated ones are still lying in the states of foulness, anger, etc., and are unhappy. Therefore, even today, there is an immense need of the adoration of these virtues. Moreover, in the distant future too, there will be many unhappy souls holding emotional foulness, anger, etc. Hence, in future also, the usefulness of these virtues is beyond doubt. In the whole of the universe, everywhere and at all times, anger, etc. are the causes of unhappiness, and forbearance, etc. are the causes of happiness. It is due to this fact that this great festival of Dashlakshan is eternal, universal, and is for all. Maybe that all do not adore it, but by its own nature it is of all. It was of all and it will remain of all. Although this festival, like Ashtanga Mahaparva, falls thrice in a year, viz., according to the Hindu months, 1 from Bhadrapad Shukla 5 to 14, 2 from Magha Shukla 5 to 14, and 3 from Chaitra Shukla 5 to 14, yet it is celebrated splendidly in whole of the country only in the month of Bhadrapad Shukla, 5th day to 14th day. The remaining 2 are not known even to many of the Jains. In the ancient times, during rainy season, business used to become dull, naturally due to insufficiency of the means of communication. Moreover, the growth of Jeev during rainy season gets highly increased. It being a non-violent society, the monks of Jains stop moving from one village to another village during the 4 months of rainy season and used to stay at one place only. Shravak too move very rarely. Hence, the natural availability of the company of virtuous persons and of the time seem to be the main reasons for celebrating this festival on a greater scale in the month of Bhadrapad only. Normally, the purpose of each religious festival is to increase passionlessness in the soul, but this festival is chiefly related with the adoration of the self-attributes. Therefore, this, the festival of passionlessness, is really the festival of continence and observance of religious rites. Parva means an auspicious time, that is, the occasion for chastity. In fact, the manifestation of passionless state through realization of the nature of the self is the real festival, because that alone is auspicious for the self and is the occasion for chastity. Dharma crops up in the self and not in the day or date, but on whichsoever date the serenity of passionlessness in the form of supreme forbearance, etc., emerges in the self, that very date is termed as a festival. The basis of religion is the soul and not the date. The tenfold adoration of the conduct attribute based on realization of the true nature of the self is verily the Dashalakshan Mahadharma. Owing to its being concerned only with the evolution of 10 virtues in the self, it is called the great festival of 10 commandments, that is Dashalakshan Mahaparva. Since beginningless period, each soul has been continually unhappy and disturbed due to wicked emotions of the self, such as anger, pride, deceit, greed, falsehood, incontinence, etc., evolved in the self. The only means of ending inquietude and unhappiness is self-adoration. After knowing and believing in the nature of the self, by keeping engrossed in it, by keeping absorbed in it, the supersensitive self-bliss and real serenity is achieved. The virtues of supreme forbearance, etc., develop of their own in the heart of such an aspirant of the self. It is therefore clear that the aforesaid festival is concerned with self-adoration, or in other words, with the adoration of the 10 virtues of supreme forbearance, etc. Forbearance, etc. 10 virtues are also called the 10 religions. These 10 religions are 1. Supreme forbearance, Uttam Kshama. 2. Supreme modesty, Uttam Mardav. 3. Supreme straightforwardness, Uttam Arjav. 4. Supreme purity, Uttam Shauch. 5. Supreme truth, Uttam Satya. 6. Supreme self-restraint, Uttam Sanyam. 7. Supreme austerity, Uttam Tap. 8. Supreme renunciation, Uttam Tyag. 9. Supreme non-attachment, Uttam Akinchanya. 10. Supreme celibacy, Uttam Brahmacharya. In fact, these are not the 10 religions, but these are the 10 characteristics of religion. In brief, these are also proclaimed as 10 religions. In whichsoever soul the state of religion in the form of self-belief, self-knowledge and self-absorptness is manifested, in that very soul, these 10 distinct characteristics of religions do get evolved of their own. These are the religions, characteristics, symptoms which are evolved as a consequence of self-adoration. Although the above-mentioned 10 religions are the pure modifications of conduct attributes, yet the word supreme prefixed to each religion indicates the inevitable existence of right belief and right knowledge. The purport of this is that their pure modifications of conduct attribute are manifested in the enlightened self, possessed of right belief, and never in the ignorant self having perverse belief. As a matter of fact, conduct is the real direct religion. Right belief and right knowledge are the roots of the tree of conduct. As a tree without its roots cannot remain standing, cannot grow, or in other words, as the existence of a tree without roots is not possible, similarly, the tree of Samyak Charitra without the roots of Samyak Darshan and Samyak Gyan cannot remain standing, cannot grow, or in other words, without these two limbs, even the existence of Samyak Charitra cannot at all be imagined. Although in the universe many people who are devoid of self-belief and self-knowledge may be seen engrossed in lessening the passions, etc., due to the fear of bondage and the greed of taking birth in heaven, or attaining beatitude or worldly honor, prestige, etc., yet they cannot be regarded as possessors of the 10 religions in the form of forbearance, etc. In this connection, the thoughts of the great learned person, Pandit Todarmal are worth viewing. Moreover, due to fear of bondage, etc., or due to desire of birth in heaven, or attaining liberation, many persons do not indulge in passional acts, but in them the intention of indulging in passional acts does not vanish. For example, someone may not commit adultery due to fear of law or due to greed of good reputation, but he is not called an abdicator of adultery. Similarly, this man is also not an abdicator of anger, etc. How does then one become an abdicator? On account of the substances appearing to be good or bad, emotions like anger, etc. are evolved. When through the practice of scripture, Tattvagyan, nothing appears to be good or bad, anger, etc. do not arise automatically. Then only the real religion gets evolved. Thus, the absence of anger, etc., along with right belief and right knowledge is, in fact, the religion of supreme forbearance, etc. Although the aforesaid 10 religions are described at different places in the scriptures, from the religion of saint point of view, yet these are not simply to be observed only by the saints, but the householders, Shravak, should also observe them necessarily according to their spiritual status. One ought to observe is only a way of telling. In fact, the point is that these are automatically found emerged in the life of an enlightened householder as per his spiritual status, and the observance of these becomes his natural way of life. In Tattvarth Sutra, supreme forbearance, etc. are described along with control, carefulness, contemplations, and conquest by endurance. All these are related with the religion of monks. This is the reason why these are described only in superlative form at different places. Getting perplexed with their approach, their non-observance by laymen is not desirable. If the 10 religions in the form of supreme forbearance, etc., of the order of the absence of 3 intensest types of passions are manifested in the monks, then the 10 religions in the form of supreme forbearance, etc., of the order of the absence of 2 intensest types of passions shall be manifested in the right knowledge Shravak of 5th spiritual stage. Similarly, the 10 religions in the form of supreme forbearance, etc., of the order of the absence of only 1 intensest type of passion shall be manifested in the vowless right faith Jeev of the 4th spiritual stage. Supreme forbearance, etc., are not found in the ignorant self. His passions might have got lessened to whatever low degree, but the aforesaid 10 religions cannot be found in him because the aforesaid 10 religions are the modifications which emerge in the absence of passions and not by the reduced intensity of passions. Whatever gradual differences are seen due to reduced intensity of passions, those are termed in the scriptures as leshyas and not as religion. Religion is the name of natural dispositions originated in the absence of perverse belief and passions. It is not a consequence of reduced intensity of passions. Exposition of these 10 religions is possible from various points of view. Example, from Muni's and Shravak's point of view, from exact and conventional point of view, from internal and external states points of view. Out of these, each religion requires to be explained independently and in detail. A detailed study of each religion is being given ahead. Therefore, now I conclude here with this holy contemplation that may all souls, on the auspicious occasion of this great festival of Dashalakshman, attain eternal happiness by understanding and grasping clearly the aforesaid 10 distinct characteristics of religion and by getting engrossed completely in the same.